everyone. Super excited to be here. It's an honor. Nervous at the same time. So let's see how this will go. So I'm Ziad. I'm a staff engineer in a company called Adyen. It's a relatively big company. I work in a group called the Data Platforms Group. It's a group of team that's mainly on the platform side. I spend my time building data and ML tooling. I want to talk today about delegation without authority, but before I start, I will share some background. So there's lots of teams that depend on the work that we do, and things we do actually have huge impact on the organization. So this keeps me super excited and always kind of on the hunt for opportunities of impact. But time is limited, and I personally believe in focus. So every time I find this opportunity of impact, I kind of end up in this dilemma. Okay, do I put this on my plate? Do I push this forward? Or do I kind of put it in my backlog? So with time, I thought, okay, there's a third option. I can actually delegate. And this is easier said than done for staff engineers. We don't really have direct authority over people. So this top-down approach of handing over work to other people doesn't really work for us. We have to kind of work sideways with people, and to get them to actually pick up something and drive it to success, we have to work on actually influencing them and actually make them believe that this is really the thing that they have to do. So with trial and error, I now try to think that every time I want to delegate something, that there's some sort of delegation threshold for this task. It depends on our, of course, it depends on our influence or credibility in the organization, but it also depends on the task itself. So now I will kind of approach it from this angle of the tasks themselves. And I try to think of this delegation threshold of this specific task. And I try to put, So I try to kind of rank it between these four categories to see how does it rank in each one of them. And then when I think about it this way, I kind of know how easy it is or how hard to hand this over to someone else. So I think there are these four factors that kind of influence delegation of tasks for us as staff engineers, or in general also. So I think I will quickly talk through them. So clarity, for example, how clear is this task for other people? Engagement, is there something super interesting to learn in here? Are you going to work on some interesting tech? Is there a chance to fly to some other office maybe to work with these people? Are you going to meet new interesting people? Recognition is more about do people even know this exists? Is someone actually going to acknowledge that you solved some sort of problem? Or is the CEO going to give you a hug maybe at the end? So the complexity, I think, it's kind of clear, and there's different complexity levels for different tasks. And then once you kind of look at it this way, you kind of build this picture of, okay, you try to see how you can approach or what you need to optimize for to kind of make this more delegatable kind of. So thinking about this, I always try to approach delegation from building a story. So I like to think, at least, that people don't really like to be told what to do. They like to be part of something bigger. And every time I want to delegate something, I make sure I build a proper story. Why is this thing important, and how does it actually tie to the bigger picture? The story is the inspiration for people to actually join us with this effort and to pick this all the way to success. On the other hand, I think not everybody always sees the things the same way we see them. A problem for me might be a solution for someone else, or they might even not see it as a problem from the beginning. So I think I try to build a story to kind of create this alignment on vision on why this is actually a problem. When I build a story, I kind of optimize for clarity. And this is kind of the first step to have successful delegation. But a story by itself, we need to kind of emphasize the impact. So what's at the end? What's behind this? What's down the road and the end of the tunnel? And same like the story. When I talk here about... sorry, I didn't switch. Okay. So yeah, about demonstrating impact. So, like, when I talk about demonstrating impact, I don't talk like about actually building a solution for the problem, but actually about kind of quantifying what is the impact of the things we're trying to do. Like why, like what's going to happen by solving this problem. And I also noticed that some people usually don't see it. So this is why it's very important to enforce it and yeah, make sure it's kind of measurable, the impact that we have by doing this thing. And this makes it much easier to pitch a problem because this way we kind of optimize for recognition. So you need to build a story, demonstrate the impact, how these two things work together. In the previous slide, by the way, I put write your story. In the beginning, I had it build your story. But when I thought about it, I actually thought that building a story is not only enough. You actually have to write the story. And this is why I later changed it to write the story. Because once we write it down, we kind of create something like physical, something out of it. It kind of materializes into something that we can actually share with people and something we can use to pitch to others. So you have a story, you know the impact, you wrote it down, you're ready to pitch it to people. To succeed, to make this super easy, I think you need to know your people. As staff engineers, one of the most important things we build in our organization is a network that we build inside the organization. At some point, these networks kind of become the medium that we use to get big things done. But these networks are also important for delegation. Knowing the people, when I say knowing the people, I talk about like going beyond like knowing their names or like what they look like. But actually knowing what they really care about, what they're struggling with, their learning objectives, and with this knowledge, you can kind of create this win-win situations where you kind of match people with things you think that's kind of fit for them. So, like, I can maybe give some examples. For example, I had like a colleague, data analyst, wanted to transition data engineering. There's a pipeline, keeps breaking, perfect, fitted for this person. They work on it, they shine in this area. It's for them a way to transition into this role. A staff engineer, I was a buddy for him, worked with him a little bit. He needs some way to kind of shine in this role and prove like his credibility and his impact in the organization. So kind of also fit with him some complex tasks that he can also help push forward. Yes. So I think like we delegate to own our time. So it's always important, or at least for me, I try to always not to become a micromanager. Like I don't want to be a manager at the end of the day. I don't want to do my job delegating because delegation takes time. So I always try to break all the dependencies that I have on this task, hand over, set them up for success. Any documents, things I created, create this ownership, or sorry, switch this ownership. This way they think, or I kind of get this feeling that I put them in the back seat, in the front seat, and now it's on them to drive this to success. All right. So, final thoughts. I think to me, delegation, I try to treat it kind of like a sales pitch. To me, I think like successful delegation is by getting people to do something because they want to do it, not because they have to do it. I'm not always successful. I think sometimes it doesn't work out, and this is fine. It's a learning opportunity. People's priorities change, teams change, sometimes people just don't care. I always reflect and I see, was my story good? Was the impact really good? Why this thing I wasn't able to delegate it? But it's always fine. And finally, I think like delegation is really one of the best ways to form like genuine, very good relationships with people, because like once you delegate something, they push it all the way to success. You really have this strong bond with these people. All right. I hope this was interesting to you. I hope you will be successful in your next delegations. And thank you, everyone.